Trying to predict the future is a discouraging and hazardous occupation. If by some miracle a prophet could describe the future exactly as it was going to take place, his predictions would sound so absurd, so far-fetched, that everybody would laugh him to scorn. Only if what I tell you appears absolutely unbelievable have we any chance of visualizing the future as it really will happen. The only thing we can be sure of about the future is that it will be absolutely fantastic.
Buenos tardes from Mexico, where ABB FIA Formula E has arrived for a crucial double header. It's round 8 and 9 of the World Championship as the 2021 season reaches the halfway point. Yes, a very warm welcome to Puebla. We're about 60 miles east of the Mexican capital, Mexico City, and this is the first time that Formula E has raced on this track. It's going to be really exciting. It's something special. 15 minutes from qualifying, but can you believe it's 6 weeks since we last raced in Monaco? And to be honest with you, we needed that 6 weeks to catch our breath because people are saying it was the best Formula E race ever. Here's why.
The Monaco E-Prix, all 5 lights are on and we go green in Monaco. Evans has got a good getaway. He might have the inside coming into Sandebot. Now we're into the hairpin. Oh, and there's a contact there. That is Sims in trouble.
Honestly, these guys are crazy.
Robin Frijns on the attack. He's through. Frijns ahead of Costa. Fern is going for Evans round the outside of the Niobium chicane. And Fern gets through and Costa's going to get caught up in that.
He just drove me off the track.
Costa does the fan boost in the tunnel. Frijns covers the inside. Costa sweeps to the outside. Turns in. Takes the lead. Frijns on the inside into Sandebot. Evans sweeps through. He's going for it now. Oh!
What a move!
Evans up through Beau Rivage. Takes the lead of the Monaco E-Prix.
Good job, good job.
Coming down into the new Nouvelle chicane. Costa to the outside and to the lead.
Masterclass.
Costa comes through the final corner. Costa wins in Monaco. An unreal end to the E-Prix. And Frijns gets second, does he? Yes?
Calm down and tell me that I just won the Monaco E-Prix.
Well, it was a nail-biting win in a historic race in Monaco, but what a celebration for Antonio Felix da Costa, and he joins me now. Antonio, it really was a phenomenal, that last lap was just incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty special. I mean, it's cool when you have a plan in your head and then it kind of everything works out the way you plan it to be. It's not always the case, and when we're able to pull everything, you know, perfectly, it felt amazing. And you know, the moment I got Mitch in that last lap, I come out of the chicane and I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna win this, you know. And it was like massive weight off my shoulders. Just, you know, he was driving super well, so was Robin. A really cool fight between the three of us, and I mean, when you're the one to come out on top, obviously feels great, but it would have been fair for any of the three of us, I have to say.
A very special moment indeed, and that puts you fourth in the championship coming into this weekend in Puebla. We're midpoint of the season now. You know, what is going through your mind? Is it all about the championship fight? You are obviously defending your season 6 title as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That is. It's always about the championship. You know, a lot of people say, you know, thinking about it, this and that. That's not true. You know, we're all thinking about it.
Brilliant.
Obviously, you know, I work a lot on my mental side, and there is times to think about it, and there is times not to think about it. Right now, you know, the big priority to score a lot of points. So if that's first, second, third place, fifth, whatever it is, we'll take it. I'm predicting a really, really tough qualifying here. With the track evolution has been crazy. It rained last night. Every lap we just go a lot quicker, so I'm really predicting Group 1 to be super hard. But yeah, you know, my main competitors are in that group as well with me, so I'll do what I can and try and be in front of them.
Very quickly, what are your thoughts on the track?
I love it. It's been super fun, so challenging. Different tarmacs in different areas. It slides, then it grips up, then it's oversteer, then it's understeer. So it's really hard to set up the car for this. So we'll see. So
you're going to have a busy day ahead. Well, Antonio Felix Costa, thank you and good luck for qualifying.
Hey, thank you, Nicky Shields, Vernon Kay, and I'm joined by a man who's dosed himself 3 times in fresh milk at the Indianapolis 500, Dario Franchitti. Dario, Monaco was something special. That move at the end, well, there were lots of moves, but Antonio Felix da Costa, he put in a sterling performance in Monaco.
Yeah, he really did. It was a great battle for the lead, but it came down to that last lap. That was a champion's move. Antonio had one chance to take the lead and make it stick, and he did that in a very brave move through the tunnel. He set it up nicely. You see it here. And just pure bravery and a lot of risk. Made it count. Off he went, won the race, won in Monaco, and now he's in championship contention again.
And Mitch Evans and Robin Frijns were the perfect co-hosts for an epic.
Oh, I mean, that move that Mitch Evans made up the hill was superb. But those guys, they played nicely, but they put on a heck of a race, and I think they'll do the same again today.
All right, let's talk about Puebla. It's the first time we've raced here on this track. Many of the drivers haven't raced here before. There's a few that have, but the majority haven't. It's old. There's lots of cracks in the track surface, but I think the way that the FE gang have designed it, we're in for one heck of a race.
Well, absolutely. That's what we do in Formula E. We race on street circuits. You know, there's no perfect surface. Lots of bumps, lots of different surface changes. They've put some walls in to make it really look like a street circuit at different points as well. Low grip through most of the circuit, but then we have turns 14 and especially 15 with this banked oval corner, which is superb.
Just say that again, because you get really excited when we say, oh, the banked oval circuit.
No, I do.
You made a living, brother.
Well, it's part of it, definitely, on the ovals, and this is phenomenal, and it's catching the attention of all the Formula E drivers.
It really is. Let's talk about the tyres, because that's what everyone has been talking about, is the degradation of the tyres. It's going to be an issue in qualifying, and it's going to be an issue in the race itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Low grip surface, high degradation, and especially around this last banked corner, turn 15, because the Michelin all conditioned tyres are not designed to run on an oval. So that lateral load and then the vertical load, when it starts to spit it out, when it goes sideways, it happens in a hurry, so it's definitely catching the driver's attention.
No doubt that you and Jack will get into the physics of this oval a little bit later on. There's also turns 7 and 11 that you'll get into as well, but let's go over to Nicky Shields to continue this story.
Well, it gives me great pleasure to say that joining me now is the driver who is sitting at the top of the standings, Robin Frijns for Envision Virgin Racing. Robin, this is the second time you've actually been at the top of the driver standings. How does that feel coming into a race weekend, knowing that you've got more points than anyone else?
Gives you a good feeling, gives you a good boost of confidence for the team, that you're just doing a good job. I think we've been very consistent so far, or we tried to at least. We didn't want to race yet, but hopefully in Mexico we will have our first victory this season, and hopefully many more to come.
Yeah, so you've had a pole position, you've had a couple of second place finishes, but never a victory. Why does that escape you still?
I don't know. I mean, I've been maybe a bit unlucky at a few places. I think I've led most races so far this season, but I rather led the last lap than the first 20, I would say. But yeah, I've just been fighting for the lead many times, and or the red flag came out in Riyadh, or the safety car came out at the wrong place for us. But anyway, it's good to be competitive, it's good to drive up front all the time, and it will come one day.
And you've obviously had a bit of time on track here. This is a new track for all of the drivers, but what are your first impressions? Because, well, it looks, from our side, really quite exciting. From your side, quite a challenging time.
It is quite busy in the car. The track is quite low grip. So it's changing throughout the corners as well. So it's technically you're full of surprises at sometimes. Qualifying will be very difficult in Group 1, I believe. I think the track will be improving lap by lap, as we saw in FP1. So I think the race will be entertaining, especially with Group 1 guys starting in the back and moving forward again.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Robin, and all the best for this race weekend. And hopefully you reach the top step of the podium.
I will try.
Thanks.
Welcome to Puebla, Mexico. Let's take a closer look at this 3-kilometer, 15-turn circuit. Turn 1 has a lot of challenges. A long straight approaching it, so high speed. It's a wide and very bumpy braking zone. But as the driver starts to turn in, it's very difficult to actually pick out the apex, and the rest of the corner is completely blind. The apex wall in turn 1 will require pinpoint accuracy, and the track narrows down on exit. This should be fairly spicy on lap 1. Turn 2 is a sweeping right-hander. Turn 3 is all about setting up for braking of turn 4, where the drivers are going to be turning as they brake and regenerating as much energy into the battery as possible. It's a long corner from here to the straight to turn 5. Very easy to gain or lose a lot of time. In turn 5, you'll be as wide as possible to set up for turn 6, where you need to carry as much speed as possible while using the minimum amount of road on exit so you can be in the correct position for turn 7. This is a driver's view. Completely blind entry again. The apex is a wall, so if you get it slightly wrong, wipe the right side of the car off on the apex wall. But if you get it wrong on exit, there's about a foot of grass. And then another wall. There is absolutely no margin for error in this fairly quick corner. Turn 8 is another one of these long corners that we see at Puebla, with the wall being the apex very late in the corner, off camber, difficult corner. But then you consider that Formula E have put the attack mode activation zone not on the outside of the corner as normal, but on a completely different part of the circuit, a whole new piece of circuit. So the time lost, if you take attack mode, is going to be massive. Cars re-entering the circuit from attack mode will have much higher speed, so look out for contact where they merge. The short straight up to 10, heavy braking for 11, off the oval again. Long turn 13, sets up for 14. Turn 14, another one of those long corners, apex somewhere about there. But this is the critical point of the track. It's how early you can get back to throttle, because now you're flat out all the way around turn 15 to turn 1. Any pass you want to make in turn 1 starts right here. Turn 15 is a heavily banked, long oval corner. The fast way through here is to get as close to the white line as possible, but that puts tremendous amount of load on the right-hand side tyres, and by this point they're going to be really upset. One thing I learned at Iowa Speedway quite a few years ago was if you move up a little bit, especially in the race, you put less steering into the car, less load, it's going to allow the tyre to live longer for that race, 45 minutes plus 1 lap. Turn 15 leads on to the long start-finish straight to complete a lap of this very technical Puebla track.
ABB FIA Formula E qualifying takes place just 3 hours before the race. The cars are split into 4 groups of 6 drivers based on championship order.
Let's go.
In this group qualifying session, each driver just gets 1 flying lap to set a time. They're given the full power allocation of 250 kilowatts, but with the race happening shortly after, there is very little time for the team to repair a damaged car, so margins are fine and mistakes costly.
Oh yeah, and
That's a big one for Oliver Rowland.
Drivers have to find the line between going as quick as possible, but not risk a crash and miss out on the race. The quickest driver in the group session gets 1 championship point, with the fastest 6 proceeding to the Super Pole shootout.
But Antonio Felix da Costa will start from pole position.
Yeah! Nice one, boys. Thank you.
Where they go out 1 by 1 for a single flying lap.
The British driver is surely going to take his first pole position in the series by 0.8 of a second.
The fastest driver gets pole position and 3 crucial championship points.
Okay, it's time to see which of our 24 drivers has got the measure of this Puebla track and will sit themselves on pole position for this afternoon's E-Prix. Let's go over to our commentators of Jack Nicholls and Dario Franchitti.
Looking forward to this a lot. Qualifying for round 8 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship about to get underway here in Puebla. We are a couple of hours outside of Mexico City on a good run because the traffic can be a little bit unpredictable, and I think we'll be seeing some unpredictability on these roads this afternoon. Unpredictability or something like that. There's the qualifying Group 1 drivers that will be out. They are the top 6 in the championship. So Frijns, De Vries, Evans, Da Costa, Bird and Van Dorn. They're that order in the championship. They will be first out on the track here. And Cheetah are feeling quite confident, actually. Robin Frijns is the championship leader. He is about to head out onto the circuit. But Cheetah looked very quick earlier on today. Can Frijns get up there and match them? It's going to be really, really interesting. And track evolution is a thing that we've seen a lot in Formula E. Some of the teams thinking it's going to be a big, big deal here this afternoon. Some a little less concerned. Antonio Felix da Costa, they think there's more pace to come from that Cheetah. They think he's got a shot at Super Pole, which is mightily ambitious, but that's the confidence they've got. Hashtag Puebla E-Prix if you want to get in touch over the course of the whole weekend. We've got a race tomorrow as well. Stoffel Van Dorn and Nick De Vries in the Mercedes about to go out as well. And they struggled in Monaco qualifying. Interestingly, you remember De Vries knocked himself out of full power in qualifying. That's why he struggled. He knocked a switch, took him out of full power. You may remember in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton knocked a switch on his steering wheel and changed his brake bias and went straight on. Now in Formula One, Mercedes have brought a shroud in to cover some of the buttons. Formula E, all the steering wheels are the same. They're all off the shelf, so they've had to make a software change to make sure that that can't accidentally happen. Dario Franchitti.
That's part of working around the rules, isn't it? That's the situation you're given. Everybody's got the same essential car and a lot of the common parts, apart from really the drivetrain and the back suspension. And that's to try and keep some control of costs while the teams develop these amazing electric powertrains.
So,
yes.
None of these drivers are going to do a warm-up lap, are they? At
No.
2.5 minutes to go, it's going to be out lap, full power lap.
Yeah, the circuit is so abrasive. It's what you really don't want as a driver. It's an abrasive surface with high degradation and low grip because it is such an old surface, and that just means massive challenge for the drivers. You might even see some guys taking it easy through the first sector of the lap, so then they can attack sectors 2 and certainly sector 3 and gain the time back. I think we saw Alex Lynn do that a little bit in free practice too. We see a couple of cars heading out now. But yeah, there's going to be some strategy here in qualifying, and as usual, they're all going to head out and get in each other's way.
Yeah, so it's the two Jaguars that have committed to it. I think Evans is first, then Da Costa has slotted in behind him, and then Bird, then De Vries, then Frijns, and then Van Dorp. Now, a lap time is 1:23, so they've got about 20 seconds margin leaving the pit lane now. So, but once they, it'll be close, but this isn't impossible.
Not impossible. We've seen some games being played before. The great thing about a Formula E car, though, is you don't get a wake from it. It doesn't have a lot of downforce by design, so you can run very close to the car in front, which might give you some draft, some help down the straight. But the air is so thin up here, 2,000 metres above sea level, that might not be quite as active as it would have been somewhere like Valencia, for instance.
We also don't really have. Well, we'll see what happens. This is famous last words.
This is qualifying, by the way.
We don't really have game players out in group. Right. Roland gets a little bit sneaky. Degrassi gets a bit sneaky. We'll see what happens here. Jaguar always claim to be very honest, and they just go out and do their own thing.
Drivers, by the nature, are trying to gain any advantage they can, the unfair advantage, any way they possibly can. And you see it here. I mean, this is, you know, that 20 seconds you talked about, the engineers are going to be screaming on the radio at these guys, come on guys, come on, let's go, because you're going to miss actually qualifying and you're all going to start at the back anyway.
Oh, the two Mercedes are at the back of the field here, 3 wide, coming into turn 12 and 13.
Need to be careful in 15 because a lot of marbles on the outside of the circuit, so if you try to go too wide through 15, you're going to be in trouble. This is 14 now. Is it raining?
I think there's a few spots of rain coming down as well. Everybody's activated their full power mode, and look at that, it's side by side. The DS to Cheetah of, oh my goodness me, coming out onto the start-finish straight again, and that's really, really bad news for some of these drivers. They got 10 seconds to go. The driver at the back of the field, I think, is Nick De Vries. He's going to get across the line in time, I think. 3, 2, 1. Yes, he does. But look at this. Oh, big look up from Frijns, and Bird locks up, and the championship leaders off at turn 1. He's going to be starting right at the back of the field, and he's brought on and blocked Sam Bird. It's an absolute mess in Group 1, and the DS to Cheetah at the front of this field, Da Costa, is going to get away with this, I think, and so is Mitch Evans.
I am speechless.
Absolutely chaotic.
I mean, it's a difficult enough track as it is, and to try and qualify and hang the car on the absolute limit, and then you put all the... They're having a race in qualifying. We've seen it before, but it's just madness, and it just assures that you're not going to get into Super Pole. You've just shot yourself in the absolute foot. Look at Robin Frijns back in the car into the corner, turn 10. Or actually turn 9, I'm sorry. As he comes through the kink of 10 now. Heavy braking for 11. Mitch Evans leading the pack.
Frijns and Van Dorn are a second and a half down on Da Costa in the first third of the lap.
Look at the dust. Look at the rubble, the marbles already on the outside of the corner. What's it going to be like after 45 minutes in a lap this afternoon?
So middle sector, it's Da Costa who's quickest again. He's absolutely flying. He's not that much quicker than Evans, only a couple of tenths. Here we go on board with Da Costa, coming out onto the banking now. The rain is definitely coming down though, so it could work out okay.
And look at the Jaguar leaving black lines the whole way out of the corner. If it rains harder, the guys in the next groups are really going to be in trouble. These guys might actually start in Super Pole.
Here they come across the line then. Da Costa quicker than Evans. Bird goes third. De Vries now goes third. So it is Da Costa, Evans, De Vries, Bird, Frijns and Van Dorn. But I will just honestly, and I know after this, I will be speaking with engineers up and down the pit lane who will be telling me this is why we do it, that's why we do it. I still don't understand why they do it. Honestly, like, and I know, like, honestly, after this, all the teams will be telling me this reason, you have to be on track last, all of this. I understand it, but you end up with that.
But the quality is what it is. You would not have done anything better.
You did well with what you had. So you will stop at the FIA. So it's you, Evans, at Alpha tenths, then De Vries 5 tenths, Bird 9 tenths, Fringe 1.2 seconds, and Van Dorn 1.5.
So now here they all came across the line. Now Costa got away with it really because he'd had a bad run out. Frijns was almost defending and then just had a huge lockup into one. Bird was sending it on Van Dorn into turn one. He was trying to overtake him.
It's just madness. But if it does rain at that end of the circuit, this really could save the guys, you know, Sam Bird, Robin Frijns, Stoffel Van Dorn. This could save their qualifying and actually get them into Super Bowl, like I said, Jack. They're praying for rain right now. Yeah, I feel your pain, Sylvain.
Sylvain Philippe's reaction.
Sorry for the language in the background.
Apologies for that, but so described it quite well, didn't it? So, first group of qualifying down, De Costa, just 500ths ahead of Mitch Evans. Are those two going to be in the mix at the end of this session? De Vries half a second away, Bird 9 tenths, and then Frijns and Van Dorn a long way adrift. Frijns actually was pretty quick in, he was very quick in Sector 3, but not to be.
Well, considering he had to pass a couple of cars.
Qualifying Group 2 about to get underway. Jean-Eric Verne, Rast, Roland, Dennis, Mortara and Verline. Again, Roland looked quick, Verne looked quick in free practice, a little bit better. Now, we won't have that kind of chaos. I know.
Come on, Jack.
But it's not quite as important when you get to Group 2, right? In terms of being absolutely last or first. You don't want to be first on track.
No, but we've seen some of these guys. You know, Oliver Rowland has said he wasn't playing games, but he clearly was in some of the qualifying sessions this season so far. And again, everybody's just looking to gain any advantage that they possibly can.
Roland, quickest in free practice 1, quickest in free practice 2. New helmet for the weekend. Similar, you know, vibe, but new.
Vibe,
nevertheless,
to describe a helmet.
Yeah, well, so, you know, style, let's say.
Okay.
Style. Jake Dennis getting ready to go out for the BMW Andretti Motorsport team. 1 pole position this year for Jake Dennis in Valencia. His best qualifying other than that was 13th the day before. So Dennis could get a top 10. I think he'd be delighted with that in the BMW. It's using the hashtag Puebla E-Prix. Joanna said 6 weeks with no Formula E. And quali Group 1 is chaos, just what we love. But also get so frustrated at the same time.
Yeah, and qualifying is so important. We say, oh, it's difficult, or that this track should make it easy to pass. The track, yeah, promotes passing, but the cars, the drivers, the teams are so close now that to make those passes, you put yourself in a position where you use too much energy. So you've really got to qualify up front to give yourself the best chance of winning the race today. And to be in championship contention, we've seen it with all these guys, you've got to be on the podium as much as you can, because starting in Group 1 or qualifying in Group 1, there's chances you're going to have some 17th, 18th, 19th place finishes, as championship leader Robin Frijns has.
Now, 1 minute 40, I think they had when the last car left the pit lane. But it almost wasn't about the time. Like, that's the thing. It wasn't about the time.
Track
it was about the position.
Yeah,
so they could go out now and have the same fight.
Did I hear someone leave?
And that's why I'm surprised that well, De Vries was okay. He did the fastest final sector of anyone, but he didn't. But he was 6 tenths away in Sector 1, De Vries, even though he'd backed off. But maybe he'd backed off on the banking.
Well,
to get that gap.
He got held up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Remember, he got held up through turn 1 and 2 when they all had the chaos.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the car's making their way out with 2 minutes left on the clock. Roland more than happy to be last driver out on track. Eduardo Mortara joining the circuit. The Rocket Venturi driver will be at the head of the field. Beautiful sunny day in Puebla, and we have got the second qualifying group out on track. Antonio Felix da Costa is quickest at the moment. It's all about being in the top 6 once all 24 have run. Let's go down and join Nicky Shields.
Yeah, I'm here with Sylvain Philippi, the team principal at Envision Virgin Racing, and for Robin Frijns. I mean, we saw Robin big lock up into turn 1, but then what unfolded with all the traffic? You know, they were almost racing in that qualifying session.
Yeah, we've seen this before, not the first time. It was kind of expected here because the track evolution being so big here, from FP1 to FP2 to quali. So I think all the teams thought the same thing. It's really important not to be the first one on track, and we'll push it pretty well to the limit as usual. And then it was a bit of a mess, to be honest, starting the lap. And Robin, well, we'll speak to him, but yeah, it's not your ideal preparation of a flying lap if you're already fighting for position on the first lap. So yeah, it's pretty frustrating because all the work we put in and the performance looking okay. So we're going to be on the back foot on the grid for sure. But anyway, then it will be a long race, very focused on energy. So, and you can pass also here. So let's see.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Mortara starting his flying lap down into turn 1. There's Jake Dennis following in as well in second in that queue. But I think for me it's Vern and Roland who are going to be the big drivers to watch in this second group of qualifying.
Yeah, we actually get to see the car doing its stuff now. We're seeing a race going on in qualifying. This is through turn 5, setting up for 6 into 7 with a lot of problems in 7 this morning as the wall juts out.
This is now Pascal Wehrlein. And Dennis is quicker than Mortara in sector 1. Dennis is 3/10 up on Costa in the first sector alone. Wehrlein's half a second up in the first sector, so the track is evolving massively. Just waiting to see Vern's first sector. It's not that great compared to Mortara and Dennis. Roland's is quite good. So it is Roland and Wehrlein who are the two quickest at the moment. Jake Dennis here is coming left into turn 11 and now sweeping through the long left-hander of 12.
Yeah. Have they saved their tyres, though? Those that are slow through the first couple of sectors, have they saved their tyres for this last sector through 15 onto the straight? Jake Dennis looks quite under control so far. Dario Mortara, look at the bump as he goes onto the banking, trying to hold it flat out through over these bumps. His tyres absolutely stressed to the limit. The Venturi looked very good through 15.
Wehrlein's having a huge lap, so is Roland. Dennis and Vern looking good too. So Mortara goes to the top, but not for long, because there comes Jake Dennis to depose him by 0.4 of a second. Then here comes Jean-Eric Vern, the two-time champion, to go up into second place, a tenth slower than Dennis. Now here's René Rast through the final corner. Haven't really been paying much attention to Rast's times. He goes 5th, that's why. And here's Oliver Roland. Second for Roland, 0.3 away from Wehrlein. Big lap from the German and the Porsche team. Quickest by 0.3 of a second, and even compared to Costa, 1.3 seconds quicker. So those first groups of drivers are going to be right at the back of the field.
All right, we've seen track evolution. Apparently it is quite a big thing today.
Yeah, absolutely.
The drivers in Group 4, the bottom in the championship, are going to be licking their lips, especially when the drivers like Degrassi, Turvey, Buemi. So it's all to play for.
Rast lost a second compared to Roland in sector 1, 0.2 in sector 2, 0.2 in sector 3. So without that first sector, Rast would have been right up there, but a huge mistake in the first sector.
Yeah, and he was through turn 15, the last corner. He was in a 4-wheel drift. It was lovely, but maybe not particularly quick, but it definitely looked spectacular.
This is on board with Jake Dennis.
So out of turn 1, coming into 2. How close is he going to get to the wall? Oh. There you go. I did say in Track Guide that all the grip was up against the wall. And you can see, has he damaged it? They've damaged a couple of rims this morning already, the BMW guys.
So good stuff though from Dennis, quicker than Jean-Eric Vern. And this is the first track this year where it's been a real kind of level playing field for the rookie drivers, you would say, because no one's been here before. They also have a good, 7 races under their belt. So it's a good chance for these rookies to look good.
And they get to do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that definitely, these double headers have definitely benefited them to the rookies this season.
It's also, well, I'll point this out in a minute, but here's a look at the results from the first 12 drivers that have been out. Wehrlein, Roland, Dennis, Vern, Mortara, Rast, the top 6. De Costa, Evans, De Vries, Bird, Frijns and Van Doorn, the 12 drivers then. And look how far down the championship contenders are going to be again because of this qualifying format in Formula E. It's going to be so difficult to get to the end of the season at the top of the standings. And these are the next 2 groups that we have coming up. Sims, Lynn, Gunther, Cassidy, Lotterer and Degrassi in Group 3, and then Turvey, Sete Camera, Buemi, Nato Blomqvist and Joel Eriksson making his Formula E debut. They'll be going out in Group 4, but we're only halfway through this qualifying session.
So I'm here with Stoffel Vandoorne. You know, Mercedes leading the championship at the moment, but with a qualifying like that, it's going to be a real struggle today.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the usual Group 1 fight out there, you know, everyone trying to slow down, trying to push everyone back over the line, and at some point everyone has to go, and you know, everyone was kind of bunched up together into turn 1. I got overtaken by Sam. Yeah, so, I mean, we're last on the grid, but I think probably the whole of Group 1 will be probably quite close together at the back of the grid. So yeah, let's see. It's frustrating because it's, you know, sometimes it works in your favor and sometimes it goes against you. Today it went against me.
So how are you going to, you know, kind of regroup and manage this going forward into the race?
Well, it's a long race and tricky track. You know, we've never raced here, so we don't really know what to expect. There's been you know, not that much of running on like race running, let's say. So everyone's been preparing more for qualifying. So let's see. We're usually quite strong in the race, and yeah, we're definitely going to have some work to do.
You know, and also all of the drivers racing on the limit, you know, so many incidents we've seen very close to the wall, you know. Can you play it safe and then maybe take advantage of that?
It's hard to judge. I think you need to find the right balance between, you know, being aggressive but also not being too aggressive. So we'll see. I mean, it's a long race. It's very dirty offline. The attack mode as well is going to be quite interesting with the kind of the Joker lap we are doing. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. So you know, it's only finished until it's finished in Formula E.
Great. Thanks very much, Stoffel Vandoorne. Thank you.
Not finished until it's finished, says Stoffel Vandoorne. He's right, but it's going to be difficult for us.
I'm not sure how safe they are.
I don't think they're FIA homologated, are they?
No.
Right, so that's the top 6 at the moment. Verline, Roland, Dennis, Vern, Mortara, and Rast. And here we go. Next 6 cars out. Some good opportunities here for Gunter, for everyone in this group, actually. Cassidy, De Grassi, Lotterer, his teammate Pascal Verline is quickest at the moment. So see, this is, again, there's just such good drivers throughout the field that even when you get to Group 3, there's drivers that could really do a good job.
Yeah, and Lim was P4 this morning, but his teammate Alexander Sims had an issue, and he didn't get to run the free practice too, so he's really a session behind everybody else. But, you know, Alex Lim was pretty happy with the pace in the Mahindra car, so he's looking good. The evolution through Sector 1 alone was half a second quicker, Group 1 to Group 2. Group 2 is half a second quicker, so that's quite, shows you what we can expect these next 2 groups.
Here's a stat for you from Motorsport Stats. 25% of all the pole positions this season in Formula E have come from a driver called Nick. Whether it be De Vries or Cassidy, a quarter of the poles. Here we go then. Maximilian Gunter.
BMW's got a lot of roll in it. The car's really leaning over. See driver's eye view through turn 15. Important to start your lap well, so it really starts on the exit of 14 as you accelerate. Heavily on the bumpy braking zone. Trying to pick out your apex. You got pretty close there, nice. Out of 1. This is where we saw contact with him from his teammate against the wall in turn 2. Through 3, you're almost setting up ready to brake and turn. Look at the understeer through the middle, but then snaps to oversteer because he has so much steering in it. Out of 4, missed the apex in 5. Well, he's actually quite close to the apex. Tight to the wall, exit of 6 if you can to set up for 7. Watch for the grass coming up in a hurry on exit. Into 8, see attack mode activation zone on the outside, but look how little grip there is, just sliding. How's his first sector, Jack? A couple of tenths off through the first sector.
Lin is 7 tenths off through the first sector, so I think the Mahindra driver must have made a mistake out there somewhere. Although Sims is 4 tenths away, De Grassi is 4 tenths away as well. So actually this is good stuff from Gunter. Lotter is a couple of tenths away, Cassidy 6 tenths away. So we were comparing the Group 1 to Group 2 first sectors, but the Group 3 first sectors are kind of like the Group 1 first sectors.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such a controlled lap for Max Gunter. Just there's no grip available, so you've got to try and drive within the grip that's available through 15 now. on the banking, watch for the car snapping sideways. If it does, no, nice grip. A little bit of understeer in the car, but you prefer that to oversteer, I'd say, through there. Where does it put him? P5, not great for Group 3 so far.
No, so Lin's 1.4 seconds drift after the first 2 sectors. This is really, really difficult stuff for Mahindra at the moment. Here comes Lin across the line, and he goes 11th, only quicker than Baer, Frijns and Van Dorn. De Grassi goes up into 7th place, so he doesn't make it through the Super Pole. Lotterer having a big old lean through the left-hander. Sims found some pace, goes 7th. Lotterer 10th, and Cassidy 13th. So what a strange Group 3 that was. Gunther, the only driver to get up into the top 6. Explain that one to me, Dario.
I have nothing for you, Jack. I mean, Max Gunther, you've got to say P5, but you're trying to get in the Super Pole, trying to get in the top 6, so you have a chance at the pole position in Super Bowl. I mean, Max Gunther, you've got to say he's looking perilous, but he's the only one from that group that made it.
Well, and now we're in the position where, well, I'm not saying that's it, but Turvey sets a camera, maybe Buemi, but we're going into the final 6 drivers that have struggled in qualifying this year. All of a sudden that track evolution appears to have sort of disappeared.
Norman Nato, can't discount him. His qualifying
Agreed.
performances have been pretty impressive in the Venturi.
But what's happening with the track? I think that's, do you know what I mean? That's like that's the moving feast at the moment.
The only thing I've got for you is it's a very dark surface, and the sun came out and it heats the track temperature up in a hurry. I don't know. That's all I got.
Here's a look at Alex Lin. So has he made a mistake at 7? Oh, he has. He's got out on the... Oh, and then was he turning into the next corner, or was he losing it? I can't quite tell. Oh, no, he was then...
Yeah, got all together, but well held. Let's watch it from the onboard. You see the...
De Grassi on the radio saying that the fronts were not ready. Had a load of understeer.
Yeah. That didn't look like it cost Lin a load of time there. But that's the key, isn't it? Getting the tyres in the operating window as well as obviously track evolution.
And that was Sector 2, whereas he was already 7/10 down in Sector 1. So this is the top 6 at the moment. They'll be advancing through the Super Pole and battling it out to start at the front. Verline, Roland, Dennis, Verne, Gunther and Mortara. And I think only one of those drivers, Jake Dennis, has had a pole position so far this season. Although I'm questioning myself whether Verne has, but I don't think he has. No, he hasn't. 4th is his best in the last race in Monaco. So 6 drivers to go. What an interesting session this is turning into here in Puebla, Mexico. Qualifying Group 4 then. About to get underway. Sergio Sede Camera, Nato, Turvey, Blomqvist, Buemi, and debutant Joel Eriksson. The driver's about to head out onto the track. And there is Joel Eriksson, the 22-year-old Swede.
It's a big ask for him today. You know, these difficult conditions, these difficult track conditions. His first time in a proper Formula E race. He's test and reserve driver, but this is his baptism of fire. He's going to be hoping to learn a massive amount today, so he can put it all to good use tomorrow.
Finished 2nd in the 2017 Formula 3 European Championship in what was a really strong year. Finished 2nd behind Lando Norris. And he finished ahead of Gunther, Callum Ilott, Nikita Mazepin and Mick Schumacher. Let's go down to Nicky Shields.
Well, Pascal Wehrlein, talk us through, I mean, obviously great lap. I mean, the fact that you've got a bit of track evolution on your side helps as well.
Yeah, the lap was good. I think, you know, mainly our preparation this time was a lot better than before. We had also a bit of time off to analyze and learn from the last races, and yeah, very happy with the car. I think we did a very good job. Already since FP1 I'm happy, so yeah, lap was good. Hopefully Group 4 doesn't have a too big advantage on the track, but I think we should make it in Super Pole.
So do you think this could be the weekend where Porsche takes home a win?
I don't know, we try.
We try. Always try. Thanks very much, Pascal Wehrlein.
Pascal Wehrlein. Provisionally, well, quickest at the moment and looking fairly comfortable, I would say, to get into into Super Pole, because I don't see all 6 of these drivers going quicker than Wehrlein. And honestly, I'm not sure a huge amount can. I think Mortara's in under threat, as is Gunther. But if Jean-Eric Verne can get into Super Pole, I think he's got a really big shot at this as well. And Roland up there too. after being quickest in free practice 1 and 2. But 6 more drivers to come. This is Norman Nato, whose best qualifying of the season was second in Rome. He started second on the grid there and inherited the lead, actually, when Nick Cassidy spun out at the opening corner. Sebastian Buemi, always a strong qualifier. He's got, I think he's still got the most pole positions in Formula E history.
And he's the 5th best qualifier of this season so far on the super grid, as you can see.
So Nato's just cracking on.
Yeah, and he's kind of a very wide entry to start the lap, because any speed you pull out of 14 is going to carry all the way down here to the braking spot of turn 1.
Yeah, Buemi has 14 pole positions. His nearest challenger is Jean-Eric Vergne with 11. This is Norman Nato for the Rocket Venturi team on his qualifying lap. Looked a little scruffy through the first sequence of corners.
Yeah, I was going to call it very messy through turn 2, then turns 2 and 3 just wasn't hooked up at all. If the tyres are not in yet, or if he's missed overdriving the grip level, difficult to say. Managed to make it through 7. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him, one of the Neos. He should get out of the way. Yeah, good work from Tom Blomqvist.
There's a minute left on the clock, but everyone is going to have enough time to finish this without any trouble. Now Nato is 3 tenths away in sector 1. We'll get everyone else's first sectors pretty soon.
Yeah, good through 11.
His middle sector now, he's 7 tenths away, so he's pretty much out of super pole range as he straddles the curb on the exit.
Looks like he's struggling with the front of the car to get it turned. In some of those corners definitely struggled through 12 as he comes through 14 now. It's so important to get the throttle down, carry that speed through the oval section and to the finish line.
So here comes Nato, out through the final corner, loose high.
Wow, that was so close to a crash. Great reaction time from Norman Nato.
It's not going to be quick though. He goes 16th quickest, Norman Nato, as he comes across the line. And who else then? Well, no one else has even come through the first sector yet. Ericsson does now. He's 6 tenths of a second away from Pascal Wehrlein. That's Jerome D'Ambrosio, the assistant team principal at Rocket Venturi. Turvey is 6 tenths away in sector 1 as well. Here is Sergio Sette Camara coming through the left-hander.
This should be good to watch because Sergio Sette Camara is definitely maximum attack every time, isn't he?
Through now the left-hander of turn 11. I'm actually thinking, is this Ericsson? They've both decided to have yellow helmets, which is obviously incredibly useful. And I think it is Joel Eriksson.
Yeah,
it is indeed. My apologies. So here he comes through the final couple of corners. Sette Camara and Blomqvist and Buemi have done good first sectors, actually. Middle sector for Sette Camara is a bit further away, half a second, so he's looking a bit tight to get through to Superpole.
You hear this tyre, the rear tyre screeching as Joel Eriksson makes the run to the line.
So Joel Eriksson goes 13th on his first Formula E qualifying session. Here comes Oliver Turvey, who's lost a lot of time in the middle sector. Blomqvist has lost a load of time. Blomqvist has had a spin, I think. Sette Camara has a shot at getting up into the top 10, and the Brazilian goes 9th. Good job from the Dragon driver to get him into 9th position. But as I say, Tom Blomqvist, I'm sure, has had a spin in the middle sector. Buemi is nowhere as well. Buemi is really, really, really nowhere. Considering he's in Group 4, he's going to be slower than Blomqvist, slower than Sette Camara. He only goes 21st quickest, Sebastian Buemi. So there we go. Wow. We now know Sims will start 7th on the grid. De Grassi will be 8th. Championship-wise, Da Costa starts 12th, Evans 13th, De Vries 16th. We could be in for another race where the top 6 in the championship don't score any points.
Da Costa 12th though, Jack. That's point scoring territory right there. You've got to say, I think him and Evans have put themselves in a position to score some points. Yeah, let's look at this catch from Norman Nato. Watch the car, and then round it goes on the bump. Well held, Norman, and he gets into the marbles. That's like ice what he's just hit. Did such a good job to keep the Venturi out of the wall. Wow, right up against the wall. Well done. Well held, Norman.
Right, you ready for my bold claim? Oh, here we go. Driver's eye first. Whoop.
Watch
Whoop.
that. Wow, yeah.
When he got on that dirt, I thought he was gone.
Yeah, having done it a couple of times, it tends to, you almost feel it speeds up, but that was a great job by him.
I think when we arrive in New York City, Jean-Eric Vergne is going to be leading the championship. That's what
Where did that come from?
That's what I think.
Okay.
Because look, he's into Superpole. He'll be in Group 2 again tomorrow. Verline, Roland, Dennis, Vern, Gunter and Mortara, the top 6. Going through to the Super Pole session, Sims, De Grassi, Sede Camera, Rast, Lotterer, De Costa, the top 12. And then further down the field, you've got Evans in 13th, De Vries 16th, and then we've got Bird in 12th, and Robin Frijns in 22nd place. The championship leader will be all the way down in 22nd position.
So I'm here with Lucas De Grassi, who'll be starting from P8 on the grid. And you know, you were talking about turning things round in this championship fight, and it looks like you're starting to.
Well, Nicky, it was not my best quali lap. The track evolves and changes quite a lot here in Puebla, so I was a little bit too conservative, I think. But look, P8 is a good starting position. We can definitely fight for a podium from that position. So the car is very good in the race. We know that. We've been fast in every single race so far. So we're going to go for it.
And is it good to be back in Mexico? I mean, you've won twice here before.
Yeah, Mexico, it's like my second home. I love it here. The fans, everybody is super, they're super passionate about it. So it's a pleasure to be racing here again.
I'm sure the extra cheer will definitely help. Thanks very much, Lucas De Grassi.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
Lucas De Grassi, who will be starting 8th on the grid. Sims in 7th. Sims has done a good job in all of that, I have to say. Second quickest in Group 3, but 5 of the 6 in the Super Pole are from Group 2. And this was Pascal Verline's lap that put him quickest. Down towards turn 1, off the banking, onto the brakes.
See how gently he's having to brake to actually slow the car down close to the wall at apex. Nice and neat out of one, actually. Didn't use all the road. The back of the car sliding just a little bit on the curb. Just trying to get the car straight as possible now to get back to throttle. 5. Again, trying to stay as tight to the left as you can while carrying as much speed. Watch turn 7. This is where all the action's been today. Again, neat and tidy, just driving the car within its grip level, within its grip limits. Late apex through 8. Look at just fighting the rear all the way on power. Out of 9, this is important to get onto the throttle because it's quite a long run through 10 into the braking zone of 11. Coming back off the oval, once you've braked for 11, you're on the bit of banking here. God, neat through there, that was lovely. Comes through 12 now. You saw some guys understeering there. He was actually oversteering on the exit. This is an important corner. From this point, you've got to get back to throttle, and when you do it with authority. And he really has. See how the Porsche handles through the banking. Oh, very nice through the banking. That was phenomenal as he makes the run to the line.
Secured pole in his 3rd ever Formula E race in Mexico City back in season 5. Pascal Verline looking for another in this country. Waiting for the top 6 to go out for Super Pole qualifying here at the Puebla E-Prix. The grandstand starting to fill up, which is fantastic to see. We had a few fans back in Monaco, but now getting even more back here in Puebla. Cool little city. The 4th biggest city, I say cool little city, it's the 4th biggest city in Mexico.
Is it?
Yeah.
I would never have thought that.
Behind, obviously Mexico City,
Monterrey?
I think, yeah, and Guadalajara.
There you go.
And then Puebla 4th.
I've raced in Monterrey.
Have you?
Mexico City, yeah.
But not Guadalajara.
Never Guadalajara. Lovely place, though.
Sergio Perez is from Guadalajara, I believe.
Yes, he is. God, he's doing a great job this year, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see if this man can do a great job. Max Gunter.
Not from Guadalajara, but from Oberstdorf.
A what dorf?
Oberstdorf.
Really?
I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably not.
Hey, you tried.
Nick Heidfeld always used to have a go at me about how I said Mönchengladbach. Apparently I needed to, well, I don't even know what I needed to say. And I haven't even tried to say the name of the volcano, but thankfully our director hasn't shown us the volcano, so I haven't needed to say the name of the volcano. So there we go. Jean-Eric Verne, getting ready to go out. He's got a, well, how important is track evolution going to be on these final 6 cars? Because it didn't look like it was particularly huge Group 2 onwards.
I think it's still happening, Jack.
Yeah.
The rubber's building up. It just depends what happens with the sun, because every minute the track is in the sun, it's building track temperature. and that is not the tyre's friend, and that's when you start to lose grip as well. And as we've seen before, being fast in group qualifying doesn't mean you're going to be fast in Superpole as well, because the tyres are out of their natural operating window. You see Max Günther, eyes closed, visualising the lap, exactly what he thinks he's got to do. He knows somewhat where the grip's going to be. Look, he's moving his head round as he goes through the different corners, over the bumps.
Why does that help you?
It prepares your brain, really. Just prepares your brain for what's to happen. I used to do it a lot. I used to close my visor. Those people couldn't see my eyes were closed. Looks like he's singing a song to himself. But yeah, and look, there you go. And Jean-Eric doing the same thing, just because it takes out your vision's a big distraction a lot of the time. So just take your vision out of the whole thing. Think about what you got to do, and then go out and do it. But
you don't do it before commentary.
Clearly not. Well, I never know what I'm going to get with you, Jack, or Formula E for that matter.
That's true.
It always comes as a surprise to me, which is fairly clear listening to my commentary.
Overcast. There's a 40% chance of rain this afternoon. Eduardo Mortara, well, there was when I looked earlier. Eduardo Mortara getting ready to leave the pit lane in the Venturi. Has had a pole position before. Eduardo Mortara.
11th in points.
No, that's an absolute lie. He's started second. He's had a one front row start, Eduardo Mortara. Never had a pole position. And that was 35 races ago in Hong Kong Season 4 that he went on to... well, he led and then spun out of the lead, because I think it was Felix Rosenqvist started that race in the lead and he spun out at the first corner, and then Mortara spun out on the last lap.
I remember the pain he was going through afterwards. I felt so bad for him when he did that, but he made amends for it.
Toby Bloom, the Formula E journalist, said it's Obersdorf. That's about what I said, I think.
I thought so too.
And Moengen Gladbach. Moengen Gladbach.
No, I think they're making that up.
Maybe he's tricking me.
Careful, it might be something rude, Jack.
Yeah,
You're just
exactly.
reading it off the prompter there.
I probably shouldn't just read.
Yeah.
I'm Jack Nicholls. Here comes.
Look at the dust offline.
Yeah.
First of all, that's one thing to contend with. So if you get, if you get 5 or 10 centimeters off the proper line, you're into all that dust. And when you're into all that dust, it's like hitting ice. And that, I know, because I've gone offline and hit quite a lot of stuff. So I speak from authority on that, and it's so difficult because you want to obviously push the limits, but you cannot afford to go over them even slightly.
So Mortara coming through turn 11. Now they don't have no one did an out lap, a warm up lap, and a full power lap in the first part of qualifying, but you don't get the choice this time around.
And he's just preparing the tyres. He's looking at, feeling the tyre out, looking at temperatures, all that sort of stuff, pressures, just getting ready to put them into the operating window he thinks he needs. And then lap starts there. The lap starts on the throttle. You got it out of 14 because you gain all this speed again through 15. Car bottoms out, nice and neat through there. And now you're trying to pick out, from this point, you're trying to pick out the braking zone of turn 1 and the apex of turn 1, which is easier said than done. As it goes off the oval, hits a big bump there as off the oval, not using too much of the road. Through 2 and 3, and then starting to turn and brake for 4.
Through the left-hander now for the Italian-Swiss racer for the Venturi team. You'll spot just by his helmet the Pride flags as the team are supporting Pride Month. And now he's flicking right into turn 7. He's done a decent first sector. It's always difficult to gauge the first lap because conditions are different. The tyres are hotter than they were. Oh, he's right up to the wall on the exit of 8.
Yeah, through the mid to exit of 8, the car just was in one slide the whole way through. That does not bode well for the rest of the lap, because are the tyres now over their limit, out of their operating window to such a degree? He's just going to be sliding. Let's see if he goes through 11. Yeah, there you go. He's gone off in 11. He's just out-braked himself. But he didn't hit anything.
Well, it's certainly not going to be a benchmark time now for Eduardo Mortara. Comes through the right-hander of 12. Didn't hit anything, so keeps it going, so might get a place or two if others make a mistake. But this won't be his first Formula E pole position. And
he was trying to do a combined, he was trying to turn and brake to a degree, and the tyre just couldn't handle it, and you saw it sliding, and off he went. So now there's no point risking anything through turn 15, because you know you're not going to be on the pole position.
So Mortara lost 2.7 seconds in that middle sector, so does a 1 minute 27.217. His middle sector wasn't great either, actually, and I guess 11 into 12 is the middle sector split, but this is what went wrong for the Swiss racer.
Braking in a straight line, he just starts to turn. Look, And he actually lost the rear first of all. It was the back end as he just started to turn. And then he had to turn out of it, turn back in again, and by then it was too late and he got offline, and there you see the result. But fortunate not to hit anything.
But still, a top 6 starting position for Mortara. This is only the second time this season he's made it through to Super Pole. The first time was the opening race in Diriyah, where he went on to finish on the podium.
Think about how much we've seen the car sliding around. What's it going to be like?
You're excited for the...
I am, with 40 minutes in the race gone. They're all battling for position. So Max Günther builds up to start his lap now. Let's see what the car looks like through 15. You want to go fast through 15, as fast as you can, but it really overheats the tyre already before you've even started your lap, but it's important to do it. Let's see the driver's eye view right next to the driver's eye, pretty much.
Right, Günther, the man with the most Super Pole appearances this season. This is his 5th Super Pole appearance. The only other driver near him is Van Dorn and Lynn, who have 3 apiece.
Well, kind of difficult to tell what he did there because we lost him for a moment as he comes out of 4. Ooh, doesn't look great, I have to say, as he tries to put the power down out of 4. Look at the car leaning over on the right rear.
First sector, he's 2 tenths away from Mortara.
Oh.
Obviously, he'll be quicker in the middle sector, but not if he does that.
No, not if he does that, Jack. He kept it just on the track. Again, look at the power down out of turn 8. It's just not what you need. And he's being ever so careful with his steering inputs, trying to get the car straight back to the throttle. Coming up through 10, coming to 11 now. Where Adrian Mortara had his problem a couple of minutes ago. No such problem for Max Günther.
Neat and tidy. So obviously he's quicker now than Mortara in the middle sector by 2 seconds or so. So this will be our first benchmark time in Super Pole. Looking for the 3 points that come with it. Wehrlein's already got the 1 point for topping group qualifying.
He's still got 1 corner to go, Jack, and it's quite a tasty one.
Well,
so
that's true.
Let's see if he makes it through here.
Here we go then. 250 kilowatts of power through the back final corner of 15. Oh, it's nice and tidy.
It really is, but look how much it's leaning over. They've got taken a lot of the roll out of the car. 1:25.0.
Okay, that's the benchmark time.
He just missed the corner in turn 1. He almost went off in turn 1 once he finished his lap. That wasn't that lap, that was the start of his lap. Looked very neat and tidy. The car looks good here, responding well to his inputs. Then as we get turn 7 now, whoa, he just had a flick to keep the car on the circuit. You'll see, just look at the last minute, he flicks it sideways, trying to keep it off the grass. If we stay long enough out of 8, no, we don't. Look at the, again, look how much the car is rolling over. That's not typical. Look at the front tyre sliding. Am I the only one that gets so excited about that?
No, it's fantastic. No, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's quite something to see in slow motion.
Roger Griffiths, moderately excited by it, I imagine. Probably not, because if you don't want it sliding, I suppose. But now it's the turn of DS Techeetah, and it is the turn of this chap, Jean-Eric Vergne, looking for his 12th Formula E pole position, the second most of all time. And this is now Eduardo Mortara's 40th race without a pole position, which is actually a record of the drivers in the field. The record is held by Nick Heidfeld, who did 44 Formula E races without a pole position.
That's not a record you want.
Here comes Jean-Eric Vergne, down into turn 1, gets onto the brakes in the DS Techeetah, and he's got a real shot at starting at the front here. 1 win already this season in Rome, and he's not a million miles away in the championship, although he didn't sound super good through those 2 right-handers.
Well, you said he's going to be leading when we go to New York, Jack.
That's what I reckon. He's top of the championship, Roland's second when we get to New York. That's what I reckon now, because predicting Formula E is a sensible idea.
Yeah.
Right, he's 3 tenths up on Günther, so that's pretty much matching Mortara in the first sector.
Neat and tidy so far. He's trying to keep the car within its limits, within the tyre limit, but you see it just sliding around already, and every corner he goes through, the tyre's getting less and less happy, sliding around even more. This very abrasive surface. As he comes up, he's on the oval banking now, braking for turn 11. Does he get it stopped? Yeah, very nice. Neat and tidy.
Middle sector now, and he's half a second up on Günther. So this is going to be the time that Dennis, Roland and Wehrlein are going to need to beat.
Lovely through 13 to set up for 14.
Much narrower through 13 than Günther was.
Yeah, exactly right, Jack. Watching back to throttle. Bit of a slide, but nothing too bad. This is the bit you've got to keep your foot down. How brave can you be? How nice is the car? How nice is the balance of the car? Very good through 15.
Couple of lifts through it, comes across the line, and Wehrlein will go to the top, 8/10 quicker than Max Günther. So provisional pole position for Jean-Eric Vergne, but Dennis Roland and Wehrlein are really the big hitters that we've got to come.
Yeah, that was the gauntlet being thrown right down there. Nice lap. Again, consider, guys, we're talking about a second difference plus on the second lap this morning when they did a sort of a cool-off lap. So very impressive from Jean-Eric Vergne. That's using all the road out of turn 4. Bit of a slide in 5. Yes, Jack. You okay? You having a coughing fit?
No, hashtag Puebla E-Prix. Daniel Eckersley says Nick Heidfeld holds the record for the most races without a records. Which is a complicated way of saying it, but you see what I mean.
Aye.
Jean-Eric Vergne, though, with a good lap. Now here comes Jake Dennis. This is only his second Super Pole appearance of the season. He took pole position in Valencia, but apart from that, he's not qualified higher than 13th. Now, the man from Nuneaton comes charging down towards the first corner.
I think you like saying Nuneaton almost as much as you like saying Palmerston North, was that?
Palmerston North for Brendan Hartley.
Yeah. Nice and neat from Jake Dennis there. He hit the wall in qualifying coming through turn 2, but he managed to avoid it there. But it's all about the important first split. Where does this put him? Didn't look like he got on the throttle terribly well out of turn 4. 26.4 though. Oh, he's nearly a 10th up.
This is good from Dennis. Very good first sector. Still 2/3 of the lap to go, of course.
They look good out of 8. Relatively good out of 8 compared to the people he's competing against.
We'll get his middle sector split in a moment for Dennis. Came into this series with a lot of junior single-seater pedigree. Took maybe a little while to get up to speed, but now he's looking pretty decent. He's a quarter of a second up here on Jean-Eric Vergne. Jake Dennis absolutely flying into 12 now. Again, really, I think he kept it even tighter than Vergne did.
And he carried a lot of speed into the apex and slowed the car down through the middle. Listen to back to throttle.
Here we go, let's listen.
Watch his hands. Oh, it was a small lift.
Yeah.
Well done, very gentle on the controls, not upsetting the car.
And he's quickest by 4/10 of a second. Really good lap from Jake Dennis. Huge round of applause. He's had so much to get used to. He stopped driving single-seaters for a while. He went to GT cars and was saying the braking is the biggest thing, because in a GT3 car, you just mash the brakes, you have ABS. But here, Formula E, the brakes are so sensitive. And look at this through the final corner for Jake Dennis.
And look at the marbles on the outside. That BMW is handling very well. 2 cars in Super Pole. Great job by the BMW Andretti guys. I should say guys and girls. Like everybody's used to saying guys and girls. The BMW Andretti team, fabulous job.
Yeah, absolutely superb stuff.
Look at the car there. Not nearly as much sliding as we saw earlier on from the other cars. The car's handling very well. Jake Dennis doing a great job driving it.
Just to finish off our little Nick Heidfeld records, a few of you have got in touch, including Motorsport Stats, saying Heidfeld has the most Formula 1 podiums without a win, 13. He also has the record for the most Formula E podiums without a win, 8. But Andre Lotterer has 7, so he's not far from taking that record away. This is Oliver Rowland, though. Quickest in free practice 1, smashed the wall in free practice 2, went back out and went quickest. So you're a brave man to bet against the man from Barnsley. We're doing a little tour of the sort of Midlands and south of the north, yeah.
South, is that what we call it? South of the north. Yeah, Oliver Rowland, he's only got 1 speed, absolutely flat out. Done some great qualifying performances, the best qualifying average of anybody this season. And he's quickest so far, 0.02 of a second up on Jake Dennis so far.
Should have been on pole position in Rome, but hit the wall.
But then he shouldn't, should he?
Well, correct. Would have been on pole position in Rome had he not hit the wall. Is that a better way of phrasing it?
I thought you were saying about that earlier, didn't I? That we can't say on air. Yeah. Anyway.
Rowland is about to come through the middle sector, 200ths up. This is all looking so undramatic from Rowland. Comes through the middle sector and he's over a 10th up on Jake Dennis here.
Oh, no, he used over the curb though, bottomed out, probably had to lift off. And he doesn't look nearly as good through turn 12.
Dennis was really quick in the final sector, 2/10 quicker than Jean-Eric Verne. Roland has the quickest sector 1, the quickest sector 2, but has he overcooked it in the final third of the lap here in Puebla? Comes through the final corner, gets all loose, right down to the grass though, at the exit of the banking, and Roland goes quickest, 0.04 of a second clear of Jake Dennis, and he got away with that final sector, didn't he? One driver to come, it's Verline or Roland for pole. We are having a new pole sitter in season 7.
That was fairly mighty through the last corner. Car balance looked very, very good, especially after the slight mistake going into turn 13.
Antonio Felix da Costa is the only repeat pole sitter of the season so far.
Okay, let's watch through turn 12, watch on exit, bit of understeer. Didn't really hurt too much. Didn't probably even cost him any time. Oh, the balance, that Nissan looks good through there, through turn 14 into 15. Fought it a bit on the power, but really nice. Look how close he was to the grass.
Yeah.
Through 15.
Roland was quickest in group qualifying in Rome before hitting the aforementioned wall, and he's looking for his 4th Formula E pole position. But this is the only man that can stop him now. Pascal Wehrlein in the Porsche. He started on pole position in Mexico before. Porsche have started on pole position in Mexico before. Can the two join up and start at the front of the grid in Puebla?
See what he can do through 3. That was not too bad. You hear the tyres screaming, protesting just a little bit. What's his first split though?
Comes through the first sector just after this left-hander of turn 6. Oh, 5 thousandths! 0.005 away in the first third of the lap, the first kilometre.
All to play for. Nick tidy off of 8. Got the power down. The car wasn't going sideways, it was going forwards. Oh, nice again.
And if he's there or thereabouts in the final sector, that's where Roland lost a lot of time to Jake Dennis. Onto the brakes now into 11.
Very close to the apex wall in 11.
He's up.
Wow! Mega middle sector, Jack.
He's up. Over a 10th compared to Roland. Can he get neat and tidy through the final few corners? The part of the track where Roland maybe struggled a bit.
Difficult to tell. Different camera angle, so it's very difficult to tell. Was it better or not?
Wehrlein looking for his 2nd Formula E pole position. Is he? Oh, no. Big slide!
Did he lift though?
Wehrlein to the line. Pole. 600ths. And Pascal Wehrlein takes his 2nd pole of his career. The 2nd for him in Mexico. The 2nd for Porsche in Formula E, also in Mexico. I guess it was meant to be, wasn't it?
I guess it was. That was interesting through the last corner, wasn't it? We lost 2/10 through the last sector to Jake Dennis, but all that mattered was the final lap time. Well held. Good lap from Pascal Wehrlein.
Wehrlein will start on pole position for the Puebla E-Prix, which is coming up in 3 hours' time. 3 hours and, 12 minutes. We will be 11 minutes. We will be getting the race underway. So make sure you join us, because it's set up to be fascinating, and it's really set up for one of these Group 2 drivers to join the fight in the championship. This was Wehrlein through the final corner. That was the slide.
And the slide was caused by the car hitting the ground. Right there. Snapped round. He did a great job to keep his foot down.
Wehrlein had the 4th quickest final sector. So he lost a big chunk of time. Slower than Roland, slower than Dennis, slower than Verne in the final sector. But the first 2 kilometers, he built up that gap.
But think how different turn 15 is and maybe turn 1 or turn 4. And you've got to compromise in your setup. Where do you want to be quick? The Porsche guys obviously chose to be quick through the infield sector. That might be troublesome this afternoon in the race, though. Look at the slide. The car's just yawing, just sliding across the surface the whole way around the track. And that was the guy that was quicker than anybody.
That's Emil Lindsay there, the team principal of the Porsche squad, and that means that it is a clean sweep in qualifying for Pascal Wehrlein. Quickest in group qualifying, quickest in Superpole, and he will start at the front of the grid for the Puebla E-Prix later on this afternoon. Oliver Rowland 2nd, Jake Dennis 3rd. The top 3 separated by just under a 10th of a second. Verne half a second away, Gunter there in 5th, Eduardo Mortara 6th. Then you've got the first of the championship contenders, to Costa in 12th, Evans 13th, but Frijns down in 22nd position, Bird in 20th, De Vries 16th. Oh, it's going to be a long afternoon for them. And is it going to be the same story tomorrow? That's going to be the question. So great performance for Pascal Wehrlein, qualifying on pole position. But let's first hear from our third place sitter.
Well, Jake Dennis, that was an incredibly tight Super Pole session there, but you've managed to secure yourself third on the grid. Are you pleased?
Yeah, I'm over the moon. You know, second row. Seem to be getting along well with these sort of tracks, which are a lot more flowing. They seem to be suiting me quite well. It was super close, you know, obviously just less than an attempt to miss out on pole. And yeah, but great job. You know, the team have done an incredible job. We've got Max in 5th, myself in 3rd, so I think we can be pleased.
Is this going to be a real turning point? You know, halfway through the season now, you can put some valuable points on the board?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we're sitting 10th in the championship at the moment, and yeah, I definitely want to try and capitalise on a good result here. We're starting 3rd, so there's no reason why we can't yeah, try and move forward and yeah, see where we end up after 45 minutes of racing.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good luck, Jake.
Third on the grid, over the moon. With that, as you can imagine, his second best performance of the season so far. And Jake Dennis, as far as the championship is concerned, he's in 10th place, 33 points, so half the points of Frijns, but big score, it'll be good. Let's go back to Nikki.
Oliver Rowland, incredibly close there. Oliver Rowland, 1/100th of a second between the two of you.
Yeah, pretty close. I mean, my lap was nothing special, to be honest. I kind of knew that if he did a good job, he would get me, but I'm really happy with the team and the car. You know, I kind of let the car down not to be on pole today, but yeah, I'm very happy, and we're in the right place for the race, so that's what's really important.
Excellent. I mean, we've seen pace from you, you know, over the course of the day, but we also have from the Mercedes guys, the DS Techeetah guys, but they're nowhere near you.
Yeah, but you know, with the group evolution as well, it helps being in Group 2 and not in Group 1. I expect them to be there in the race. I think Antonio's 12th, so he'll be coming from there, and we just have to make sure we have a clean race at the front and try and escape.
He'll be coming for you. Thanks very much, Oliver Rowland.
So, Oliver Rowland, second on the grid. Disappointed with that, isn't he? And his middle sector was 2/10 slower than Wehrlein. His final sector we saw was a little bit scruffy as well. But nevertheless, he's right there at the front for another front row start for Oliver Rowland. And this is his 5th front row start. But second pole position for Pascal Wehrlein. He likes a bit of Mexico, doesn't he?
Well, Pascal Wehrlein, I mean, it was looking good. That 3rd sector, you lost a bit of time, but not too much. Still on pole position. Well done.
Yeah, the tires were quite difficult in the end to manage, obviously overheating, and I think in the last corner I had a big moment going sideways, but yeah, just tried to keep the foot down and yeah, do all or nothing. So yeah, very good job, very happy with the car all day long, and yeah, good progress since the last race, so very thankful to the team.
Oliver Rowland's pace has been up there as well. Is he your biggest competitor today?
Well, I think everyone who was in Super Pole will be strong. It's going to be a tight race, like always in Formula E, so difficult to predict.
Okay, well, for the second time in your Formula E career history, you may take the Julius Baer Pole Position trophy behind you. You have to present it to yourself this time, though.
Thank you.
You got to pick it up. You can take it with you. One for the trophy cabinet.
They always love how light it is, don't they, the drivers? So pole position for Pascal Wehrlein, and a really, really good drive from him, despite that big moment at the final corner. Wehrlein secures his second pole in Formula E, and we are in for a really fascinating race up at the front of the field, because these drivers at the front will feel that they can kickstart their season here. We'll be past the halfway point after this race, but they've got a chance of getting up, joining the championship fight in 3 hours' time in Puebla. And that was the reaction in the Porsche garage. They loved it.
Right, I'm here with James Barclay, the man in charge of Jaguar Racing. Jaguar got into a little bit of trouble in Group 1, but as did everyone else in Group 1. Just talk us through it, James, what you were thinking, and why we see this over and over again, the confusion with Group 1 going out so late.
Yeah, so what we knew going coming here is it's a really green track, and what we mean by that is the cars haven't run this infield layout before, so the track is literally getting quicker every time a car goes out. So no one wanted to go first today. We knew that was going to be the case, and hence you saw no one wanted to overtake Mitch, and you had this kind of concertina effect, and so that kind of created that traffic jam. But even then, if you look at Antonio and Mitch, with the track evolution, 1.3 seconds Group 1 to Group 2, the qualifying format makes it incredibly difficult, and this is an extreme.
It really is, and that 1 second plus track evolution is crazy because the sun came out for a brief period of time, and Dario was saying in commentary that could have made the difference, the fact that the track was a little bit hotter.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as the sun came out, literally our hearts sank. and the other thing also is we actually had some rain in Group 1. Sam and Mitch both reported rain on their visors, and they lost a bit of traction in a couple of corners. So for the third time in a row, Group 1's had rain, and this makes it really hard. You've got the championship protagonists all at the back of the field. Some said it's great for the race and TV, but honestly, for a team, it's really tough because the quick cars are at the back.
Yeah, but hang on a minute, James. You've made a huge investment in bringing two great drivers to the team. You brought Sam Bird in this season, and we saw in Monaco that this boy can drive. He can get through a field. You've got 20 and 13th place on the grid. You're not going to finish so low down in the field because you've got two great drivers.
Yeah, we never say never, and you're absolutely right. Look at Rome, and we raced through the field, finished in the podium. So yeah, we're never going to give up. But it's really tough. You throw a lot of jeopardy at it when you have to come from the back. But yeah, rest assured, we'll be doing our best.
You're obviously going to look at the weather. You're going to look at the data as well. During that brief period of time, what data do you gather from qualifying, if any, and free practice, and then change for the race? Because it's all about race pace. We talk about that every single time we're at a new track or an old track or a race in FE. Yeah. It's all about the data.
Yeah, absolutely. And this morning in free practice 1 and 2, we actually do most of our homework for that. So practicing our long race runs, managing energy, looking at our regen strategy. So that was all done this morning. We learnt a bit from the balance of the car in qualifying there, and we'll try and apply that. You want to keep the car in the best operating window, because the more stable the car is, the more you can regen, the better your energy is going to be. So we'll put that into practice. I think a very high likelihood of a safety car here, though, today. It's that kind of track, and we've seen small mistakes can punish you quite heavily.
Well, Turn 7 and Turn 11 are going to be quite hairy. From our perspective, from an outsider's perspective, it's going to be really entertaining. But for you guys, it must be really nerve-wracking knowing that within Formula E, you never say never. It's always full of entertainment from the moment Jack says and we go green to the checkered flag.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm smiling under my mask, but it's a nervous smile because it's going to be a tightrope. And if you get put offline in one or two of these corners like Turn 7, you'll be on the grass, you're going to be losing places. So it's going to be a real game of chess, and it's going to be looking at your strategy, and I think there's a bit we can do to try and minimise that, but again, you really are at the mercy of what's happening in front of you sometimes as well.
Well, James, you're the perfect team principal to explain to us about energy efficiency and the car. We saw in Valencia what happened in the first race that weekend, and then we saw that Mitch kind of ran out of energy at the end of Monaco. So how does this calculation work? How does the algorithm work? Just explain to us, please, for all the newbies out there.
Yeah, so basically we don't know how much battery we've got left, the state of charge we call it, and we only see it when you see it on TV. So we have systems, and the drivers, you'll hear them mentioning a figure every time they cross the start-finish line. That's giving a reading, and we have a plot. And when we can see on that plot, are we above target or below target? And the target line is basically getting us to the end of the race with 0.1% of battery charge left. So we know at any point in time, are we above target or below target? If we're above target, we're going to try and slow the drivers down. If we're below target, we can push and overtake. And that's what every team in this grid is doing in the race situation.
It's fascinating when it all comes down to science, James.
Absolutely.
It's all about science. James, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. You're an absolute gentleman. Nikki is with our back-to-back champion, Jean-Eric Vergne.
I'm indeed down in the DS Techeetah garage. Jean-Eric Vergne, you'll be starting on 4th on the grid. Are you pleased with that?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, the lap was not fantastic, so yeah, I'm okay to start 4th. I think from here to win the race is completely possible, so just need to have a clean race. Good on strategy, good with the tyres, and see where we end up at the end.
Now, you're 7th in the championship at the moment. There's 16 points between you and Robin Frijns at the top, but all the guys ahead of you in the championship are behind you on the grid, so that must be a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, but it's going to be like this until the remaining of the season, I think, because of track evolution and the guys being in Group 1 always are the one cleaning the track, so they always start in the back, and then we're going probably to be in Group 1, and then it's going to It's going to be like this until the end, so it will be very tricky.
So it's going to be yo-yoing, okay. Looking into your crystal ball weather predictions, are we going to get any rain? I'm hoping, fingers crossed we don't.
We'll see.
And your thoughts on the track? I mean, now you've had a little bit of time to get to know it. What can we expect in the race? What are the biggest challenges going to be? What are you really looking out for?
It's going to be very challenging on the tires. It will be very hard on them. So I have no idea how we're going to end up that race. But, the guys that are clean with the tires and quite gentle with them might have an advantage at the end of the race.
And looking at the sort of teams championship as well, again, it's super close between you guys, Mercedes, Jaguar. We're now midway through the season. Is this the point where the championship fight really has to start taking place? Someone's got to take a bit of a lead.
I don't care who takes the lead in the middle of the championship. All I care is who takes the lead at the end. And to be honest, right now I'm not even looking at the ranking. It's not what really matters. What matters is to come here, do a good race, score as many points as possible, and make the most of the situation, with the Group 1 in quali and so on,
All right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much,
Thank you so much.
And good luck for the race. And a bit of a break. Your teammate, Antonio Felix da Costa. Today is going to be a bit more of a challenge for you, starting a little bit further down the grid.
Yeah, to be honest, if before qualifying you offered me P11, I would have signed for it. I was expecting a really tricky Group 1, but the thing is, Group 1's already hard as it is, but for some reason there was water on the track coming from the cracks of the old tarmac. So there's a lot of wet patches around. So Group 1's already track's dirty and all that, and then plus really wet. So it's so hard. And then I think everyone saw all the mess. It looked like the end of a race there. But yeah, so P11, I mean, we have a fast car, so I can score some good points from there.
Yeah, quali wasn't the lap that we were expecting from you guys, that's for sure. But, again, looking at the rest of the championship, you have been looking really quick today. The times that you were setting earlier during practice sessions. Your biggest challengers, Jaguar and Mercedes, are behind you.
Yeah, for teams championship, that's very good. Mitch is right there with me, and I'm sure he's gonna come forwards as well. But we were so quick all day in the top three, both three practices, and then to have. It's just how Formula E is with the qualifying system. So I was expecting it. I'm not even angry anymore. It's just how it is. So we get our minds around it and go race this afternoon.
It's the name of the game. You won the championship with the same rules last year.
Don't blame the player, blame the game.
Exactly. Thanks very much, Antonio Felix da Costa.
Thanks, Nikki. We're with our pole sitter, Pascal Verlaine. Congratulations, Pascal.
Thank you.
Feeling good, my friend?
Very good.
Good.
And
your
you?
second. Yeah, I'm feeling really good. It's a beautiful day now. It stopped raining. Yeah. Your second pole for the team. You must be going into the race with a lot of confidence after that performance in qualifying.
Yeah, the car felt good the whole day, so I'm very happy with that. We've done a good step forwards since the last race, so the break for us was actually quite good. Feeling more and more comfortable in my new team as well, so the relationship is getting really good, and very happy about today.
Nice.
Pascal, how much compromise is there between the tight parts of the circuit, both in setup and driving, between the tight parts and turn 15, the last corner?
Yeah, like you said, it's difficult to find the right compromise because you want the rotation in the low speed, but obviously you want a stable car in the high speed corners. So I was coming sideways in my fast lap in the last corner. The rear tires had a bit of degradation, which is normal. But it was all okay.
Germany have just beaten Portugal 4-2, so maybe that's a sign.
Yeah, what do you expect?
Oh, we've got into football, ladies and gentlemen.
Da Costa's just fallen over for
exactly. All right, well, let's ask you quickly. The European Championships are taking place at the moment. Are you confident in your German side?
You mean in football or here?
Yeah,
now?
in football. In football.
They are a pretty good team, a young team, so many good young players. So watch out in the future.
Oh, I like Pascal, a great guy. All right, let's bring in Oliver Rowland.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal. Oliver Rowland, obviously one of our English boys.
Yeah, let's talk about football.
Let's not talk about football, shall we, Dario, who's Scottish. Obviously, England, we're going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, I apologise. Oliver, let's quickly talk about England's performance against Scotland. Did you see it?
I did.
What do you think?
Well, it was disappointing, but it's one of those things. It's probably nearly their last game, so they're probably trying really hard, aren't they?
You know it, my friend. You know it.
All right, let's wind it in. Let's bring it back to the race. So close there to get the car on pole position, but as we've seen in the past, Oliver, you're the kind of guy that likes to fight in Formula E and push his way through. A bit of a bulldog, and we love that because it's so entertaining. But sometimes it kind of goes a bit squiffy and it goes wrong. But you must be feeling so confident knowing that this track has got so many different options and so many different places that you can overtake.
Yeah, well, luckily I'm at the front, so I don't need to do an awful lot of overtaking. To be honest, the plan would be to get a nice clean run in the race. Try not to get in too much of a mess and try and escape with a few people. It makes life much, much easier. To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed in myself on that lap in qualifying. I think I didn't put everything together and I was a bit tense, so a little bit disappointed to lose the 3 points, but we're in it for the race for sure.
Oliver, how much is tyre management going to be a factor in the race today and tomorrow?
Huge, yeah. I mean, even from this morning, even when it was damp, you could feel them going off. So I think we're going to struggle a little bit with the tyres, but it's going to be a management game a little bit. You're going to have to try and conserve to be okay at the end and then try and keep yourself in some good shape, because for sure if the tyres go off a cliff, the last corner is going to be an absolute nightmare.
We're looking forward to watching, aren't we?
Yeah, we really are. Oliver, thank you very much. Let's go over to Nikki and Jack.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm actually here with Oliver and his boss, Thomas Verpole. Incredibly close, though, that qualifying session. You must have been, it was a pretty intense moment.
Yeah, we were very excited to see Roland fast since first session, so we were very confident, but it's very close, it's true, and we were confident we could get the pole, but it's fine. I mean, he put together an amazing lap, and the performance is there. Fingers crossed for the race, and we look forward to the race.
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? The race, because so far this year you've had great qualifying, always in the top 10, but what's been going wrong in the races?
Yeah, it's true. So far, I mean, we have done an assessment in the last weeks because we had the time, and we didn't find a real specific weakness. We think that the preparation to the race was not really optimized. The overall vehicle efficiency was not optimized. So we changed something in the way we approached the race to be more prepared the moment we have the actual data after the sessions in the morning, to be more ready for the race. So we hope, let's see.
So you can win today, no problem?
No problem. Let's say, I would say that in terms of process, I think we are more prepared to plan for the race. Let's see if this improvement as a result already in this race.
Cool. Best of luck.
Very exciting to hear. Yeah, all the best. Good luck. Vernon, back to you.
Thanks, Nikki. Jake, you've already had your #1 spot on the podium. Is today the day that we're going to get #2?
It's the plan. That's for sure. We had a good race obviously in Valencia a few races ago now, and yeah, we definitely want to try and repeat that for sure. The car's been performing well. We've been fast through FP1, FP2, and I think the biggest thing, no one's really done any energy running because the practice sessions were so compromised. So it's going to be a bit of a guessing game, and just hope that you're pretty efficient and fast.
Jake, as a rookie, how different is this to anything you've experienced before? Formula E especially, but this Puebla track too.
Well, just that last corner, it's sensational to watch, isn't it? Like, you are fully hustling through there, and obviously you work your ass off and throughout the whole lap, and then this last corner you can throw it all away. So this is quite tame. I think you need to watch Pascal. He had quite a big moment. I'm getting my head down there to try and go faster. But, yeah, maybe I should have just got a bit lower and we might have got pole. But yeah, it's been a good day so far.
You mentioned that we're going to race for 45 minutes and a lap. How quickly does that information come into your headset whilst you're racing?
Yeah, pretty quickly. Obviously, we rely so much on the engineers, and if the information isn't correct, then we can make some wrong switches. Before you know it, you lose a couple of % of battery, and then it's game over and it's survival mode. But we did well in Valencia, and we can try and do a better job now.
All right, great, Jake. Thank you very much, Dario. We are in for one heck of a race a little bit later on. 4 o'clock local time here in Mexico. Make sure you check local details, and we will see you then. It's going to be epic.
And we go green in Mexico. And they make contact. Oh, I don't believe it. Oh, that was a mad move. This just feels like it's bubbling.
Push, yes, yes. What a race.
Sábado y domingo, siempre tú regresas conmigo.